Good day, everybody. This is Dragolover Maniac, and today I'm going to be talking about something that one person I previously stated before that did not believe me that when I had disabilities, and people always don't believe that I have these disabilities, and people always say, "Well, try to correct your spelling," and I tell them I have disabilities, I can't. And some people ask me what are the disabilities. So this will finally prove once and for all that I do have these three disabilities that prevents me from spelling correctly. So this video will show you the disabilities I have that prevents me from spelling correctly. So I don't think this will be. There's supposed to be three, but I decided to check this out, but end up this one somehow connects to this one, so I might as well leave that up. I don't know. So I have apraxia, dyspraxia, and autism. So apraxia is an inability to execute learn purposeful movements, despite having the desire and the physical capacity to perform the movement. Apraxia is an acute disorder of motor planning, but is not caused by incoordination, sensory loss, or failure to comprehend simple commands, which can be tested by asking the person to recognize the correct movement from a series. It is caused by damage of a specific areas of the cerebrum. Apraxia should not be confused with ataxia, a lack of coordination of movements. Aphasia, inability to produce and or comprehend language. Algula, the lack of desire to carry out an action. Or alacaria, in which patients perceive stimuli to one side of the body as occurring to the other. Development conditional disorder is a development disorder of motor planning. And that ends up being one of the choices. I did not right click that one. I put down a list of my mom gave me of the disabilities I has, and I put them in my words folder that helps me pick out words that I could never get to spell right and put them in here. So, and she gave me the 7 disabilities I have, and some that I may no longer have, but I put them in anyway. And I just grab them, copy and paste them, copy and paste them, copy and paste them, and choose ones that seems to relate to the disabilities that I have that prevents me from spelling correctly. And apparently, development disorder was one of the paste ones, and apparently there was a link for it right here. Development coordination disorder, also known as development dyspraxia and clumsy childhood syndrome. I just put in dyspraxia and it just gave me this, so it was like, me, whatever. And clumsy child syndrome is a chronic neurological disorder beginning in childhood that can affect planning of movement or coordination as a result of the brain messaging not being accurately transmitted to the body. Up to 50% of these with attention defection, hyperactivity disorder, also have DCD. Also may be diagnosed in the absence of other motor or sensory impairments like cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, and or Parkinson's disease. Kind of difficult. This is what the doctor gave me? It doesn't seem like it's what I have. Well, not. I guess probably they're thinking that I have these words in my head and want to speak them, but never comes out correctly. So probably that's what it's meaning. That I can't. I think of words, I want to say them, but people can't understand me because my brain cannot make me say it right. My brain has the correct words and knows what it's going, but can have troubles of making me able to speak of what I'm thinking correctly and end up being something wrong. So I think that's what this is. Me not being able to communicate properly. So I guess that's just another one of the disabilities I have from the three that goes hand in hand of making me spell incorrectly. Autism spectrum. Even though I just put in autism and it just ended up saying, "Oh, then let's put this in with this." Like, fine, kind of like this. It's like I said dyspraxia, but ended up just going this. It's like. The autism spectrum, or autistic spectrum disorder, autism spectrum describes a range of conditions classified as neurodevelopmental disorder. In the fifth revision of the American Psychiatric Association Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition. The DSM-5, published in 2013, refined the autism spectrums to encompass the previous DSM-4-TR, diagnosed as autism, defection of communication difficulties. Oh, there it is. That's my communication difficulty right there. Stereotyped or repetition behaviors and interest in the same cases, cognitive delays. Mouse fault. So this is my communication difficulties. But which one's about? But doesn't. So these probably are the three that's preventing me from spelling correctly? Mostly, it seems like it's just mostly being unable to communicate. And it's not about talking about my conditions. About, yeah, let's check out this one since this is one of the other symptoms my mother put down. The diagnostic category, pervasive developmental disorder, PDD, and opposed to specific development disorder, refers to a group of 5 disorders characterized by delays in the development of basic functions, including socialization and communication. Why is it always communication problems? Hang on. I looked up on the other symptoms, but so far, none of them occurs relates to about my spelling problems, and it just talks about other problems about me. But my mom said that these three are I think, it's been a long time, I forgot, and I don't have the paper that points out which are the three that prevents me from spelling correctly. Which I just repeated twice. So, but she specifically said that three of one of these four that prevents me goes hand in hand. That's preventing me from spelling correctly. So, well, whatever my mom says, if it's these, it's these, because so far I'm not seeing that. Probably you guys probably not seeing it either, but I don't know. Well, if these are the symptoms that prevents me from spelling correctly, then they are previous development disorder not otherwise specified PDD-NOS, which includes autism and is mostly common. Autism, which we just recently read, the best known. Asperger syndrome, Rett syndrome, and childhood disintegrative disorder, CDD. The first three of these disorders are commonly known as autism spectrum disorders. The least two disorders are much rarer, and some symptoms place in the autism spectrum and sometimes not. Well, I'm in the autism, so I think I'm that, yeah. The onset of previous developmental disorders occurs during infancy, but the condition is usually not identified until the child is around 3 years old. Parents may begin to question the health of their child when developmental milestones are not met, including the age, appropriate motor movement, and speech production. These are the divisions among doctors on the use of the term PDD. Many use of the term PDD as a short way of saying PDD-NOS. Others use a general category label of PDD because they are hesitant to diagnose very young children with a specific type of PDD, such as autism, which I have. Both approaches contribute to confusion about the term because the term PDD actually refers to a category of disorders and is not a diagnostic label. It's not a diagnostic label. Well, when they were around 3, yeah. I remember my relative used to be with me when I was very little, and she said that she always had to have my brother around so they can understand me what the heck I'm saying when I was very little. So, probably that's what this was, about me being little and not being able to communicate well. Again, all these 4 ends up just pointing about me not being able to communicate well. And yet my mom said one of these 3 of these 4 ends up preventing me from spelling correctly. And communication problem? Yeah, I am struggling of communicating sometimes. Probably you've seen that in the previous videos. I try to, end up probably coming out wrong or stuff. Am I making this up? God, no. This is actually symptoms that I'm having.